Rob is a nerdy, awkward high school student who is filled with imagination of how he wants to lay with the female of his choice, Angela. On this fateful day, he dreams about Angela riding him, and he wakes up with his pants wet with his private release. It gets much more awkward when his mother enters his room without knocking, and she welcomes herself to that horrible sight. She couldn't even get herself to look at it, so she told him that he should drop his trousers in the laundry and prepare for school. He brushes his teeth, wears his clothes, and tries to sneak out of the house. That day is such a special one for him because he is having an interview for his college admission. His parents want him to attend Georgetown College, and although he doesn't love it, he doesn't have a choice. His father gives him the Georgetown College headband and tells him about how important that admission is. He promises that he will do his best, and then he takes his bicycle and rides to the house of his best friend Stanley. He meets Stanley's girlfriend Lisa by the road, but she refuses to greet him and joins her classmates in the car. Stanley is also as clumsy and nerdy as Rob, but somehow he has gotten a hot girlfriend like Lisa, who enjoys having intercourse. They arrive at school and Stanley tries to invite Rob to watch a game that night. But Rob refuses because he has a prior plan with Gabrielle, a mutual friend. Every year, Gabrielle and Rob meet on the designated day to watch the final spelling bee competition. She can't cancel his plans for Rob, so Stanley gives up. They walk into the school and Gabrielle talks to Rob about the exciting things they could do when they watch the competition. However, Rob gets distracted when he sees his crush, and he looks at Angela with admiration. Coincidentally, some bullies come with a water gun and shoot him with water. He realizes that it isn't ordinary water, and he now smells like urine. He can't wear those trousers for his interview. So Gabrielle asks Stanley to get Rob a pair of shorts from the lost but found section while she goes to her class. Unfortunately, he can't find any good shorts. Stanley offers Rob a pair of pants, but Rob decides to stick with his shorts and wears them instead. Rob is nervous about how the interview will go, and to comfort him, Stanley suggests he goes to the female's bathroom and enjoy himself and have an orgasm as it would relieve his stress. At about the same time, Angela comes to ask him for a tutorial night. She tells him that her teacher has just announced that they have a test tomorrow and she needs to prepare, so he should visit her that night so they can study together. While that opportunity is one to kill for, he can't bail on Gabrielle, so he refuses to visit her. Stanley finds that decision foolish and urges Rob to reconsider and respond to Angela later. After Angela leaves, Stanley reminds him of his crush on Angela and wants to make out with her. He wonders why Rob is leaving this opportunity at that moment. Rob eventually goes for his interview and meets his interviewer, Jack. He apologizes for his awkward dress, and Jack immediately empathizes with him. During the interview, Jack notices that his parents also attended Georgetown College. Rob further tells Jack that he had grown up listening to stories about the college because that was where his parents met, and they have filled his head with several stories. Jack suddenly becomes emotional because that is where he met his late wife too. He starts crying, and Rob offers his headband to him. Rob leaves the office and assumes he has failed. He tells Stanley about it, and Stanley advises him not to worry and focus on getting Angela instead. He eventually decides to meet Angela and tells Gabrielle to cancel their plan, claiming that he is feeling sad about the interview. He goes to get protective rubber and he rides to Angela's home. On his way, a car hits him. He continues his journey and gets to Angela's room. She asks him if he wants to take wine, and she touches his legs. He shakes and mistakenly pours wine on her. She changes her clothes in front of him and admits that she doesn't have a test and she wants to be with him. She starts kissing him and touches his legs, which gets him aroused. After he releases, he finds himself in his room again. He assumes that he had gone through what was just a dream. He listens to his father's pep talk, goes to school, watches his bully pour water on him, changes his shorts, and watches Angela come to ask him to tutor her. He refuses, screws up his interview with Jack, and decides to accept Angela's offer. This time around, he forgets to inform Gabrielle about his change and doesn't cancel with her. He goes to get a condom and rides to Angela's house. He gets hit by a car, gets to Angela's house, pours wine on her, and she confesses about liking him. She touches him and he releases. He wakes up again in the house. He does the entire day again, but this time, he accepts Angela's offer immediately. He climaxes in her house and returns to the same morning again. Confused, he visits Stanley immediately after he wakes up. He meets with Stanley and Lisa, explaining what he has been going through. They claim it is a psychological issue that was caused because he hasn't made love to a lady before. And Stanley suggests that he does a threesome with Lisa, but Lisa refuses. When she's leaving, just like she does with Stanley, they tell him to tag along, and he gets excited. She also tells that to Rob and gets him excited. The next moment, Rob finds himself in the same morning again. He realizes he only repeats the day whenever he climaxes, so he decides to challenge the myth by watching an adult video to release, and when he does, he repeats the day. Rob returns to school and meets Gabrielle, but when his bullies are about to shoot him with water gun, he breaks the gun, gets into an argument with them, and they chase him. He runs to a room, but they keep banging the door. To escape, he wanks so he can release and repeat the day. He releases in front of them and repeats the day. On this new day, he does everything differently. He tells his parents he really doesn't like Georgetown, but he will do the interview. He rides a car along the corridor of the school instead of walking. He steals some weed and takes it to the bus to smoke with Gabrielle, where they talk about how they met each other and how they have been together since childhood. He hugs her and promises not to cancel their appointment again. He admonishes Jack to be a man and stops breaking down because of his wife's death. He goes to hold the breast of their teacher, who later calls the cops. He takes revenge on a bully, Sally, for what she did to him in elementary school, and Sally kicks him. When the cops arrive, the principal calls him and says they have informed his parents. Rob tries to get an orgasm and start the day again, but he can't find anything to trigger it. Stanley tries to help him by taking him to the female bathroom, but it doesn't work. When he comes out, Sally hits his crotch again, and he gets an orgasm and wakes at home. He angrily tries to live the day again. He cancels his appointment with Gabrielle, breaks the water gun, goes to class, and attends his interview, where he walks out before Jack starts crying. Angela asks him out and he accepts. However, he decides to visit Gabrielle instead. He explains everything to her, but she is skeptical. She then tells him about her secret Abraham Lincoln fantasy, which no one knows. Left with no choice, she then takes him to their friend Arthur for help. Where Arthur's mom sees them, she insists they should leave before Arthur's grandma sees them. Before they can react, Arthur's grandma starts strangling Rob and calls him a local dialect. When they try to separate them, Arthur's mom rests on Rob and he gets an orgasm again. He wakes up that same day and confronts Arthur about the word his grandma was saying. He pushes Arthur's head inside the toilet seat and tells Arthur the word. Arthur eventually tells him the word means curse. He asks why Arthur's grandma placed a curse on him, but Arthur says he doesn't know. He returns to his friends and screams that he is cursed. When they refuse to believe him, he tells Gabrielle about her Abraham Lincoln fantasy and tells Stanley about Lisa's fetish word. Stanley tells him a curse is just the universe giving him a chance to do things right, and he assumes it is about Angela. So he goes to Angela's class and publicly announces that he will visit her that night. Gabrielle gets angry and walks away. He visits Angela and he goes straight to make out with her, but he realizes she doesn't like him, and she only wants to make use of him to help her with her assignments. He walks away, but meets his father. His father gets angry that he missed his interview and he takes him to Jack. However, Rob tells Jack he doesn't want to go to Georgetown. When he goes to get drinks for the adults, he watches the spelling bee and remembers Gabrielle. He returns to the adults and announces that he likes Gabrielle. They decide to help him get her, so they go to Gabrielle's house and help him enter through the window. Gabrielle doesn't care about what he has to say, so she asks him to leave. He refuses, and to force him out, she removes her clothes so he can have an orgasm. Her father comes in, and Rob confesses his feelings to Gabrielle. She sends him away, so he leaves through the window. After Gabrielle's father leaves, she calls him inside and confesses that she has always liked him. They watch their favorite show, and their intimacy leads to intercourse, and he gets an orgasm. This time he wakes up beside Gabrielle the next day, and he realizes he has broken the curse and is no longer in a loop, revealing that the two were meant to be together from the beginning. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a like to help the channel out. Also leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching.